So, before I start, happy holidays. I don't care if you celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever festivities that you celebrate, either with your friends or with your family, or if you're doing it alone. And believe me, if you're doing it alone, you're not the only one. Don't feel bad. There's Just know that there's a lot of love and respect and happiness and joy that I wish upon you, and not just for you, but for everybody. And don't kick yourself in the dirt. You're still something special. You're somebody. You're important to somebody. Now, with that being said, yes, this month of December, this is considered my 2 year anniversary of me having my dreadlocks. Yes, my dreadlocks are 2 years old. Now, comparative to my dreads from last year, you can definitely see major difference. Now, I'm not going to repeat myself of the stuff that I said last year. If you want to know what I said, you can go back to that video. But for those of you that already seen it, I'm not going to repeat the same jargon. It's pretty much the same preparation or whatever to help benefit for your hair. However, for this video, I'm going to pretty much talk about things I've learned for having long hair, like, having these dreadlocks. Now, as you can see, it's still having the split part, just like I mentioned in my last year's video, except it's more, opens my face. Yeah, it can still cover my face if I wanted to, but the way it's been twisted and set, as you can see, that's how it is. Now, I'm not going to go into specific order. You can look at it as whatever, but if you're really interested in having dreadlocks, like I said last year's video, it has to be something that you want to do. It's your choice alone. You just have to be committed. It's one of the most laziest, complicated hairstyle to have. Now, one of the things I've learned is, especially seeing how long my dreads are now, long hair holds heat. You would not believe. I mean, I now fully understand why people with long hair either do the ponytail action or the man bun. I think they call it. The bun. On top of their head. I'm not gonna do the bun. I mean, the most I've done, and you guys probably seen it in some of my past video, is I'll have my hair to the back. Have this holding it in. I mentioned this a couple of videos ago. I don't have to repeat myself, but I would have that hold my hair back and just let it be the way it is. That's what I do. However, say I'm playing a handheld video game and I'm lying down on my back. I'm either resting on the backrest or on a pillow. If it's hot, and believe it or not, you're like I said, hair hold heat. You will feel the heat, not just on your face, but throughout. You're gonna start sweating a little bit. What I do, I Bart Simpson that shit. I take all my dreadlock and I put it up. I'm already lying down, so it's gonna not hold in place, but it's gonna stay up the way I have it adjusted. So yeah, if you're down with Kid and Play, that's a good way to keep cool off because you will definitely feel the difference. Once you have your dress up, you're gonna feel the heat just escape you, and you just feel cool air, and it's so relaxing. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, especially if you trying to go to sleep or you're taking a nap and also, your dread just gonna be relaxing on your face. You're just like, but the heat, yeah, that's one thing. Another thing about having long hair is Velcro. Okay, I didn't know I had issue with Velcro before, but when you have dreadlock where it's long, or pretty much, I wouldn't consider this long, but it's a good length. One of the things that annoys me is if I drop something, I bend down to pick it up. That's my natural instinct. It's like, oh crap, I dropped it. And you want to bend down and pick up. If there is a jacket or anything that has Velcro on it, it is so annoying because what happened is you can't just yank it off because you can risk pulling your dreads or, whatever whatever. It just like and it can hurt too. So what I have to do is I do the peel action a little bit once it's fully off, and then I'll be like, all right, I'm free. But it's so annoying when, and I don't, it's not like you know it's there, but you're not thinking about it because you dropped something. So your natural instinct is pick it up. So you bend down to pick it up, not paying attention that, oh, this jacket or this whatever has Velcro on it. It's going to attach to your hair. Well, to your dress, pretty much. It's going to attach to your dress. And like I said, it's annoying. It's very annoying. So, yeah, that's another thing I learned. Taking a shower. Yeah, taking a shower. Now, I know I said in my last year video, make sure you wear a shower cap. Or if you're going to really, I mean, some of my videos in the past, I probably mentioned it. Make sure you shampoo, really go deep into the scalp cleaning. And make sure you get like Dreadlock safety shampoo to really go in there and you're just cleaning your scalp. That's a major thing. It's weird to say, but it feels interesting when your dress is wet and it feels a lot longer, but at the same time, it feels like you're not really wet, even though you are wet, because what the Dreadlock will do is like, yeah, it holds, but as you're still taking a shower, it tends to feel like you're wearing a hat, and that's not just all in the shower. If you were to go outside and say it's cold or windy, that's one of the benefits of having long hair. It holds the heat. That's one of the good times when you really want it to hold because it feels like you're wearing a hat when it's really your dreadlock. And that's cool. Especially, I don't know how it is for people that have long hair that are not, non-dreadlock long hair. I don't know how it is for you guys, but for people with the dreadlocks, it's nice and cozy. It feels like you're wearing a hat even though you're not wearing a hat. And when you do put on a hat, like a winter hat or like a cap or whatever, make sure it's dreadlock safety or, so once you put that on, it's like an extra layer of protection, so to speak. So yeah, that's another thing, so it's cool and everything. So another thing I learned is here's something I understand why a couple of people made a video about this. Beforehand, I was like, but it's people's hair. They can do whatever they want. Don't play with your hair a lot because what's happening is you're damaging certain sectors. It's like, think of it like as if you're having one of those wired toys. You know those toys where the inner skeletal is all wired, like those bendy toys. If you constantly bend it at the same spot non-stop, like whatever, it's gonna break. And before you know it, it can't bend like that no way, or the structure is not gonna be as strong to even stay static. Same thing with hair. If you really do a good job taking care of your dreadlock, then, and you don't play with it a lot, and that's where the danger part is. Some people, it's like they unconsciously play with their dreads. I don't, as you can see. Once I set it to how I want it, it just stayed. And if it's wind, like say I went outside and it's windy outside, my hair moved or sweat, or if I'm turning my head, or if I'm lying down, yeah, your hair is gonna move. Your dress is gonna move. It's natural. Like as you can see, I'm bending forward. It moved, and look, that's how it is. And all I have to do is just do this. Bam, problem solved. If you play with your hair a lot, you gotta remember. If you play with your dreads a lot, you gotta remember your one dread. I'm gonna take this. This one dread has so many bundles of single hairs that you're gonna ruin its structure. At some point, if wherever you bend it or wherever you play with it, you're gonna weaken its strength. Like right now, your dreads is like this. If you play with it a lot, you're gonna pretty much be loosening it, and before you know it, it's gonna be like as if you have a quilt. And you know what I'm talking about when you see those quilt where when you first bought it, it's all nice and tight, like really, brand new. But as years gone by, or as people keep messing with it, or you're playing with it, it's gonna be loose where it's like you can stick your finger through the, it's not gonna really latch on. And what also happens is your dread will break. So yeah, you can either break it off or it can snap off or whatever. It depends on. That's what I'm saying. Don't play with your dreadlock too much because you're really messing up the structure of the actual hair that's making the dreads. So that's another thing. I mean, like I said, I never really played with my hair, but it I've seen people do it. Another thing is if your scalp itches, and this is why I mentioned in my last year video, or I probably a couple videos, in the past. I don't remember exactly, but I'll put my last year's video at the end of this video. But I remember probably mentioning this. I'm not 100% sure, but make sure you get product that is specifically made and designed to help your scalp, and it's like anti-itching that help with the dreadlock. Because, for example, tea tree oil. One of the reasons why it's like I praise tea tree oil is not because it just is help with the scalp and the hair, and it help give it life. It help promote its growth and everything like that. It also is a good, pretty much anti-itching agent to relieve your feeling where you're like, oh, you gotta stick your fingers in there and just like scratch or whatever. Don't do that, because here's why. Your scalp, that's where the base of your hair, where the follicles are, that holds your one strand of hair in place as it keep growing. It's gonna always be there. When you scratch your scalp, yeah, it's like you're scratching your skin. I mean, some people have hair on their arms, some people don't. Mine kind of it's there, but you're not gonna. I don't think this camera gonna pick it up. But as you scratch and scratch and scratch, because it's like you're scratching your skin, yes, but you're also scratching the hair and its follicles that you can easily weaken. Is kind of the same thing like playing with your hair. You're weakening where the worst place to be weakening at, which is the base. Because when you weaken it loose enough, your hair just gonna come out. It's like it's falling out naturally. Or like say one day you're scratching, and as you pull your hand out, you accidentally remove one of your dreads, and that's gonna suck. Cause you're gonna be like, what? Like all that work, and next you know, you got like patch of hair. As you gotta wait to either your new form patch start grow long enough to connect that with another dread, or hopefully turn that into a baby dread. And believe me, that's very annoying. So also, now I understand everybody's scalp is different. Everybody's dreadlock length is going to be different. Some people scalp area grows faster than others. I noticed for myself is that the back portion of my head with a scalp, that my dreads tend to grow a lot longer, and everything else sort of just grows at its normal pace. Now my hair do grow fast, but I noticed that it seems like the back, as you can also notice, it grows a lot faster than the rest of my scalp. Now, the reason why I'm mentioning this is there are some people out there with dreadlocks or good length, hair. Some of them areas grow faster than others. Like I've seen this one cat. This side was longer than this side. It's not a major difference, but it is noticeable. It's like it was something like here, but because his dress was longer, it was kind of like this. Now I don't know if he was trimming it, but I'm just gonna assume that he didn't, because it doesn't look like it's a trim job. Because if he was trimming it, he would have been like even. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, the location of your dress is gonna, some will grow faster than other. It could there's many factors where that cause that. It could be from how you sleep. It could be your genetics. Like same thing like having facial hair. Some people can grow facial hair. Some people can't. Some people got like, it looks like they got pubic hair on their face, and it's just like it's not their fault. It's just that's how the genetics of their skin can allow how their facial structure to produce the hair at, pretty much. So yeah, it's the same thing with their scalp. Some areas of your hair are going to be growing faster than others, but that, don't freak out over it. If it's uneven to you, don't worry about it. Not that many people are going to notice. You got to like really look. For this cat, it was noticeable, but it's not like a major like, oh yeah, you need a fix. It's more like, oh okay, whatever. I mean, you can either it's another thing for dreadlock is there are so many styles you can do with your dreadlock. And that's the thing. A lot of people seem to think that dreadlock is just one style, either have it down or have it in a ponytail or bun it up. There are so many different styles out there. You can look it up all here on YouTube, or you can go to your loctician to see if she knows any other styles. Believe me, there are so many things you can do with your dreadlock. It looks amazing and you can feel good about it. But that's something you have to decide for yourself. You can't just be like, oh, this is boring. If it's boring, then it's boring. But if you want to change it up, you can still change it up. Just understand you still got to take care of your dreadlock like you have always been doing. So, but yes, there are many, many styles to do with your dreadlock. And it's kind of, the fact that you have that option, that just make having dreadlocks even more fun. Now, of course, as you guys can see, I got some brown tints in my hair. That's dyed. Now, the thing is, I don't know if I mentioned this in my 1 year dreadlock life, but I had an afro first. Then I dyed my hair. Then I decided, you know what? Why not have dreadlocks? So that's what I did. And as you can see, I didn't really continuously dye my hair or anything like that because I kind of like this. I enjoyed it. Will I ever change the coloration? I'm not going to guarantee and say yes or no or, the length. It's really, for right now, I'm comfortable. I'm happy with what I have now. But I've seen a lot of people made videos on this topic where they talk about, oh, if you're going to do dreadlock, like your starter lock, don't dye it right away. It's going to weaken the structure of your hair. Me, I can't really say that's true or false because, like I said, what I did, I had a mini afro, then I dyed it, then I was like, you know what, I want to have dreads. So it's like what I did was a lot different comparative to that. Some people may have success at that. Some people probably won't. But once you start developing length of your dreads, yes, you can dye your hair. But make sure it's something you discuss with your loctician or somebody that, does your dreads. Even if you do dreads on your own, make sure it's a decision and you figure it out. You do your research pretty much. Just make sure it's something you're interested in doing and make sure you have the right research to do it. It doesn't matter when to start dyeing your hair. It's really based on how comfortable you will be and if you're making sure you're doing it the safe way where it doesn't mess up the structure of your dreadlock. And yeah, another thing is people will comment on your dreads. And not just anybody. I'm talking like other people with dreadlock. Some will compliment you, some will, it's like a little interplay when you speak with other people that have dreadlock. We all want to find out, oh, what product did you use or whatever, for your dreads. And it's it's a good conversation starter. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool to have that. So yeah, don't be surprised when other people with dreadlock notice you and they converse with you about your dreads, about the scalp. It's kind of cool. It's that good interplay. Really, you really feel like, and don't expect everybody to do that though. There have been times when I'm in the store and I'm guilty of this. I don't want to be bothered when I'm not a fan of shopping. So when I go to the store, I'm just like, I'm going to go in there, grab what I want, and get out. So I don't really socialize that much, but do not expect every single person like you walking down an aisle or you're just even on the street and you see a cat with his own dreadlocks and you're like, ooh, or you see a chick and you're like, not that many people, yeah, we see it. They will see it, but they don't know you, so they're not going to talk to you. There are some, from my experience, I've met some people that did give me compliments, and there are some that just left me alone because, they didn't want to be bothered neither. So definitely expect that. It's kind of like, well, from my own experience, riding a motorcycle, when you're riding and you give your hand gesture to another rider, some will give you the sign back and some won't. Some will give the sign back in other forms, like, they nod their head or they do something else. And there are going to be some that just completely ignore you. Don't take that to heart. It is what it is. And let's see. Definitely be prepared for people that is interested in starting dreadlock or is thinking about having started a lock or already is having started a lock. They will want to talk to you. They want to get more of your experience, some feedback on their progress as well. Hopefully, I'm not making this a long video, but they just want to see, oh, how your progress been, how your journey been, because they want to get an idea how things going to be for them. Give them, when that happens, don't give them statements that's going to be like, oh yeah, this will definitely work, because what worked for me is not going to 100% work for everybody else. Everybody's scalp is different genetically. So the best I always say is, oh, just make sure, you keep your scalp clean. Make sure it's something you're committed to. Don't, you can give like advice and tips about that, but don't you be like, all right, so you're gonna do this dread thing seriously? You gotta do this, that, and I'm gonna check with you in another 2 weeks to check your progress. You better do it exactly as I said, because like I said, you don't know how their scalp gonna work. Some people's hair grows slow, and that is frustrating to a person that sees your mane, and they look at their joint like, why? You know, there are some people that'll be like, oh, I've been growing my dress for 8 years and it finally got this length. Me, this is 2 years. So, like I already mentioned earlier, my hair grows fast. So don't be surprised when next year, if I do decide to make a next year video, when my joint is probably down to my neck. I'm not saying it will, and that's another thing. Your hair, well, your scalp, because I actually read it up on this, and it's actually quite fascinating. For some people, genetically speaking, and based on your scalp, there is a limit where your hair tends to slow down the growth at a certain length. So it's like either you trained it that way, because people that like do a lot of trimming or whatever, or it just will stop. And from there, it's like it still grows, but it's growing a lot slower. Now, it could be due with age. That could be a factor. But from what I've read, it's like it's based on the person's family tree. Maybe somebody in that family, they always had their hair at a certain length, and it genetically passed down. You won't know unless you just let it grow. If it seems like, you hit that point, that plateau, where it stops, don't stress over it. Just be like, oh, okay. And it's still growing. Just know that it's still growing. It's just going to be more at a slower pace than you're used to. But don't even worry about it. Like I said, having dreadlock is the most laziest, complicated hairstyle to have. And the main point is lazy. All you got to do is make sure your scalp is clean. You're always, keeping up with the retwisting. And you just leave it alone. Don't do anything too crazy, too extremist. Another thing, yes, for those of you that want to swim in the open or the swimming pool, yes, you can swim when you have dreadlock. Just make sure you are ready with the proper cleaning you're gonna have to do, especially when you go to the beach, because beach water has a lot of salt, so that shouldn't be surprising. But yes, you can go in the water, you can have fun. Don't hold back. And that's the whole point of having dreadlock. It's about you being yourself and you're having fun. So, now, do people treat you different for having dreadlocks? I look at that as more like how you present yourself in terms of your personality and also how you are as a person. How your hair is, your dreadlocks, or how long or short or whatever, or how and as you can see, I'm just patting it down, but however I don't know, it's just, some people look at, well, they view dreadlock a certain way where it's like, it represents something, and by all means, if that's how you interpret it, that's how you interpret it. I'm not going to say you're right, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but from my experience, I don't know if people treated me any different because I still feel like I'm just me. And they have no choice but to just accept the fact that I'm me. So there you go. It's, like I said, it's really based on your personality and who you are as a person. So yeah, I think I talked long enough. So yeah, this is my 2 years. My dreadlocks now 2 years old. Look how long it is. And these are the things I've learned. If you want more of an in-depth on how to take care of it and stuff like that, look at my last year's video. Like I said, I'm going to put it at the end, or you're probably going to see it floating right now. And yeah, just live and have fun. So, oh, and there's so many plenty more information out there, or people. If you have more things you want to add, I think I pretty much covered from my experiences. But you want to add a people expectation, definitely leave it in the comments. Other than that, later.